All right, I'm back. Card number 2 for the Farmhouse Florals kit. I'm going to use this card, and actually I'm going to use some of the, pretty much all the pieces that go with it, because I just liked the dimension, and I'm jazzing my card up this time a little bit. You do not have to, oh, let me show you the card. Here's the card we're going to make. And you can see I added the dimensions, the pieces that they have. This will be perfectly fine, pretty card if you don't want to use all these three-dimensional kind of pieces. And I should put that on the outside. And then use all these pieces for another card. There. So many great samples out there with these pieces too that you could probably forego that here and use it again. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a piece of Lost Lagoon that's 8.5 by 5.5, and then I scored it at 4 1/4, and then I cut off 1 3/8 inches. Let me just verify that. Yes, cutting off 1 3/8 inches from the top fold. Okay. Then we're going to take our card. Let me get my trimmer. Got our card, and we're going to trim that down. So we're going to start with, I'm going to trim it at 4 1/4, just to cut it in half. We'll use this piece for the inside. And then I'm just going to cut this down so that we're a little bit, getting a little bit closer to this greenery. So I'm going to move one more little smidge over there. Didn't really. Yeah. All right. Let me get my... Okay, so now we've cut that. Now on this side, we're going to cut at 2 1/2. And make sure, let me show you here. You're going to, or 2 3/4, sorry. You're going to trim at 2 3/4, just up to the flowers. And I'll show. So put your trimmer at 2 3/4. You're going to cut down to the flowers, and then up to the basket. Now you don't have to do that all, real precise, because you're going to fussy cut it now. So you could, it doesn't matter how far, if you didn't cut it all the way down to the flowers, you could stop up here. You're gonna fussy cut it. So we're going to come in here now and just cut the card, cut this little smidge off. We're going to follow the bag, and then we're going to fussy cut around the flowers. I'll be right back. All right, these cards are such nice cards too. They're very heavyweight. And anybody that has been around for a while with Stampin' Up, we used to have some paper that had, if you noticed in your kit, that I'm going to trim this off. The paper has speckles on it, and we used to have it was naturals. There was that's what they called them, and they had little flecks of, I'm gonna say it looked like fiber and stuff in them. All right, so now we've just cut that out like that, and then we're going to adhere that to the front. But as you can see, I'm going to leave a little bit of space over here. I forgot to trim this down. So we're going to trim this down to 5 1/4. I forgot. And then we're going to glue that onto the front of our card here. Can you guys always tell when I'm looking for something on my desktop? I kind of pause in my sentence and stuff. So if you'll notice, we cut the card a little bit different size than we cut the this Lost Lagoon a different size than we cut off, because we need to leave that little bit of space for the border. Go up. Now we're just going to butt that. I want to get that top and bottom even. And then if you don't get your slice here in a good enough spot for your border depth, just, well, let me show you. We'll make a little bit more here. Say we want a little bit more. I'm going to put some glue on it again because I fiddled the glue away. We want a little bit wider border, we'll say. Just pull it over. Get your border where you want it on all your sides, and then just flip it over and trim it down. And then when you come back over, you can see where you gotta even it up. Like that. And then you've made the adjustment for what you need there. So then we're going to take the other half of the card. We're going to trim that down to 5 1/4 by 4. Then we're going to take this, a stamp that was in the set. We're not going to glue this in yet. We're going to eyeball where we want it. And then we're going to take the piece that we cut off. We're going to strategically line that up with the edge of the card and close it. Then that will show us how much of this is going to show. Then we're going to take that stamp, the little border stamp, and the Secret C ink, and we're just going to, let's see if I can, oh gosh, I can't tell if I'm going to pull this way down, you guys. And I'm just going to stamp down the row. And you'll see these two will line up in these two holes. Wait a second. And keep the pattern going. And then you can just finish it off. And then you can pop this off. And then now you are good to go to glue it in to the front. So we're going to get this part off our desktop. Glue that in. We do kind of want to make sure that we're going to line up with the card that we got inside. And then now we're going to take the pieces that we've got from the kit and layer up our purse. Oh, I got to remember ahead of time to put all these on. Save a lot of time. Okay. I'm going to put that on. We've got the little flowers. Okay. And then these can go right up here over those flowers. Just pop them right on the top so they cover it up. We've got this single guy. Put that one over here. We got this double one. And that goes right in here. We have our handle, and then the directions will show you that you want to cut a dimensional in half for that, and then put half on each part of the handle. Here. Stick that on. We want to go under our flower. Put our handle on. Then we have a tag that we're going to tie on. And this tag, you want to stamp on it. And I'm going to use hello. And you want to make sure that you're stamping in the right direction, because it'll go on like this, so you'll want your words to flow in the right direction. So put it on like that. And then we just need some of the twine from the kit, wherever the end is. Here we go. I don't know that that was enough. Then it's just going to feed under the handle. This is how I'm doing it anyway. Well, I did get enough. And then just tie a bow like you're, kind of like you're tying your shoes. Adjust your bow size. And then I'm going to clip off the excess ribbon. Twine. So there we go. There's our second card from this kit. And again, don't worry these little dots that are in here, that they're supposed to be in there. That's like our old naturals paper. So that's my second card. I'll be back again, thanks for watching.